Hey everyone, this is Nitro. Since it's Monday, I thought I would do another Nitro setup video, and I promised that I would go over my characters in detail. But I ran into a major problem, and that's the fact that I have too many characters. I initially tried to do this recording, but frankly, I couldn't even speak that long. If you take a look at my characters, I have them currently sorted by power, and there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and I actually have gear up to Angelina, which makes it 32 sets of gear. I can't go over 32 different heroes in a single video, so I decided that I'm going to split this one up. To be fair, of those 32, some of them are broken sets, like Angelina, for example, has a level 50 Throne Guardian and a level 50 Twilight Helmet, but no SSR accessory. But nonetheless, it still is effectively 32 sets of gear. You know, usable, or relatively usable, for Guild Wars, if nothing else. So it is a bit of a struggle to go over all of this, so I'm going to split it up, and I'll probably go over the heroes probably by class, is what I'll be doing. But before I do that, so this video will probably cover the tanks, and I'll make these videos a series this week around, right? So one day I'll do tanks, one day I'll do healers, one day I'll do mages, and so on and so forth. So today will be tanks, but before I do that, I'll go over what I've gotten last week from the Dragon and Anarchy farming, of course, right? So let's bring that up. Now, after a while, I actually decided it's not worth trying to go over the Anarchy farm results, in large part because I stopped keeping track. It's just too difficult to have to, I'm constantly farming Anarchies, right? Especially via auto-battling. So I don't pay attention to how many SSR items I get every day. Thus, I've abandoned that part. So this will just be the Dragon farm results, once again. So, in terms of Dragon farm results, last week I did get 8 SSRs in total, and this week I also got 8. So it seems like maybe, just maybe, the average will be 8 SSRs per week, from doing 2 daily Dragon farms and joint battles and all the world events that you get. Which is pretty good. I think before we got level 70 dragons and level 60 events, I was getting around 5 on average, so that increase of 3 is a pretty dramatic increase in the number of SSRs every week. In any case though, so last week from Timeless Trials, I got my second blood pact. So I had 0 blood packs coming into November, and suddenly in November I suddenly have 2. I have not built up either one. I don't know when I will build up either of them, but at least I have them available. For the weapon gambles, well, I got my 3rd Dragon Slayer Gram. I'll probably combine these two to slowly make a second level 50. I got another Bathory Destructress, which I've already combined into my existing one, so I have a level 30 Bathory Destructress as well. And I got a Bloody Melody, which I turned back into ore. As for I also did 3 helmet gambles, of course, because helmets and weapons seems to be what I really need. So the 3 helm gambles gave me a Twilight Helmet, a Charon, and a Dark Crown. Of these, I think the only one I kept was the Charon. So the other 2 were turned back into ore. As for dragon farming and joint battles and whatnot, so Monday was nothing. Tuesday, I picked up a Goddess Dress and a Last Night. On Wednesday, there was a Reaper's Breath and a Galaxy Cloak. So, Thursday gave nothing, Friday gave a Twilight Armor and an Aeneas' Helmet, and then Saturday gave me a Chief's Helmet, my second one, which is actually pretty good. Chief's Helmets are nice to have for PvP purposes, so getting a second one is nice, I just don't know when I'll level it up. And then finally on Sunday, 4 runs, including 2 dailies, gave me nothing. And because I got nothing from those 4 runs, I decided to do some random accessory box purchases. And on my second one, I picked up an Eye of the Beholder. So I stopped purchasing random accessory boxes as soon as I got that SSR. So 8 SSRs in total. 1 of them came from random accessory boxes. Overall, pretty good. Although all of them was basically ore. Still. Except for the Chief's Helmet, the rest was just ore. So, but it's basically ore I can use to do my weapon gambles for this new week. So that was the Dragon Farm results of last week. You can see, you just keep building up more and more SSRs. Even if you turn it into ore, you know, you can turn that into ore for Epic Martial Spirits to upgrade existing SSRs. So it's just, over time, your equipment just keeps improving. So, with that covered, the next thing to talk about then is just, I guess, the gear that I still need, right? I mean, now that I've pretty much gone casual for Apex Arena, gear requirements are much less, I have far less requirements when it comes to gear at this point, right? Because in truth, for PvE content, you don't need best in slot. Any SSR will be enough. You know? For example, you know, for PvP on Leon, you would probably want a Bloodline Magic Armor or a Aeolus' Battle Armor, right? That would be best in slot. But for PvE content, an Enasis armor is more than enough. Or any other level 50 armor. It could be a Mirror Armor, it could be a Carbon Fiber even. So as long as you have a level 50 SSR for PvE, that's more than enough. You know? There are a few items where it actually matters, like for example, you really do want the Vampire's Mask for the chance to decrease enemy defense by 20% when you use the Chivalry skill. But mostly, but with that said, for the Vampire Mask, in all honesty, you could easily replace it with, let's say, a Horror Helm, which does the same thing as an SR item. Just saying. So, in truth, in terms of PvE gear, it's much less, it's much more casual overall. You just need an SSR weapon, SSR accessory, and then the armor and helmet can kind of be whatever for most of your attackers. For your tanks, well, the tanks are probably the ones that matter, but even then, you know, it's not critical for them to have like their best in slots. So in any case, because of that, I can go much more casual. I can play much more casually now, and it's more, I guess, overall more relaxing, I feel, because I no longer have to constantly re-enchant new gear, or, you know, as I don't have to keep replacing gear. So I can just kind of choose to slowly build up more sets of gears so that I don't have to keep swapping gear around for, let's say, for doing Ancient Beckoning or for doing Guild Wars. So as a result, we'll see how that goes. Like, as it is, as I already previously mentioned, I do have overall more or less effectively 32 sets of gear. Even though some of them, like for example, you can see here, there's a level 20 Soul Stealer headdress. But for PvE, this still works. Okay, so with that, I guess a bit of a rant talked about, there is still gear I would kind of want, but in truth, I would want it more for PvP purposes. The gear that I still am missing in terms of weapons is definitely the Extreme Magic Bow still. I'm missing a Pale Staff, but that's not required. I'm missing a Demon Slayer, but that's not required. And Mimir's Warhammer, or Mimir's War Axe as they call it here, it's not released yet. Yeah, but you definitely want one for Yusuke. If you plan to use Yusuke, you're going to need one, and it's not going to be easy to get. So, really, not too many items that I'm truly missing. I mean, people mentioned the Spirit Griever is good for PvE because it can reduce the damage taken by 10% as well as increasing your crit rate. But at the same time, that was more for, I think, the Hugin and Munin fight. And once again, it's not an absolute requirement, right? It's what it's usually used for is you bring the Spirit Griever on your secondary attacker for that fight. So your primary attacker, which for me is Narm, will get the attack blessing from Tieris, right? But your secondary attacker, which in my case is Matthew, does not have the attack blessing for the 30% damage reduction. Thus, having the Spirit Griever give that extra 10% damage reduction when attacking will help keep Matthew alive. That's its primary purpose for PvE. But it's not required, once again. I got S rank on Hugin and Munin without it, and yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? But it is, I guess, required if you want to go for a top score, like, you know, top 3 kind of score. That's my understanding of this item. So other than that, you know, I'm missing the Queen's Scepter, and the rest are items you purchase from the Secret Realm store. Those are the weapons I'm missing. Armors. Armors I've stopped purchasing, even though I really should continue. I really should continue. In fact, now that I pretty much stopped PvP, I think I will start buying the gambles for these armors once again, because I don't have to constantly upgrade new equipment now, right? Previously, I was constantly focusing on upgrading new equipment. For example, I would be using Epic Martial Spirits at this time to probably upgrade Rene's Soul Stealer headdress, right? And I would have to use Epic Martial Spirits to upgrade, you know, gear for Yulia and so on and so forth. So, but I'm no longer under that limitation, so I can start gambling for equipment again, since I'm not in a rush to upgrade PvP gear. So hopefully I can pick up a few more copies of Last Rites. That's the hope. We'll see. I currently actually have 3. I picked up 3 pretty much this month. So, and that was enough for me to clear all the Eternal Temple content and so on. But more is always better. That's really what it comes down to. Other than the Last Rites, right? The Demon Lizard skin is not a required item. Nice to have, you know, can be used, but I think overall, if you have Last Rites, you would prefer those over Demon Lizard skin. Its main utility in truth is the fact that it gives 10% hit points increase, so it would be good on, let's say, Listel. Although even on Listel, whether you choose to bring Last Rites or Demon Lizard skin is very debatable too. And other than that, well, I'm missing the Cloak of Defiance, but that's not a required item at all, right? In fact, I absolutely do not need it because when I was drawing on the equipment banner in the past, I picked up multiple copies of its equivalent from the Sakura Wars banner, which is the Kage Kidan uniform. So I think I have 2 of these, right? Actually, I think I picked up 3 of them, and I combined 2 of those. So that is why there's a level 31 here, and then a level 21 here. So I truly don't need that Cloak of Defiance. And other than that, in terms of equipment, the only other thing I'm missing is, I think those are the only 2 I'm missing at this time, and neither of them I needed. That's why I stopped purchasing equipment. That's why I stopped purchasing armor gambles. But, you know, Last Rites, could pick up more of those. Headgear wise, I've been constantly purchasing them. I've managed to pick up 4 Charons this month, so I went from 0 Charons to 4, but I have not seen a single new Tenyo's headdress yet. So it is what it is. You know, I think I got 4 Charons in this month. I got my 2nd Odin's Battle Helm. I got, I think, a 2nd King's Crown. Yes, a 2nd King's Crown, a 2nd Chief's Helmet. So I really can't complain. But I still have not gotten a single new Tenyo's headdress, which was the PvE item that you want. As for the rest, I think they're mostly exclusives, except for, I guess, this Flower Boon Bonnet, which is effectively useless when you compare it to King's Crown. So I will continue to gamble for these helmets, of course, right? The more King's Crown I have, the better, you know. Right now, what I really just want is just Tenyo's headdresses and King's Crowns at this point. Seems to be that I constantly need the Flyer and Assassin equipment. That seems to be the trend here. I don't need gear for any other class but Flyer and Assassins. Oh, well, I suppose there's also the Tenyo's headdress, which is not. But in any case, moving on. So we move on to accessories, and accessories I'm missing a lot. You can't gamble for these, so it's all luck based, right? I could use more Sorceress medals, of course. It would be nice to get a Dimensional Jewel. You know, Forest Necklace is not really required, but what I really do want is Apex Boots, Divine Boots, and especially Spirit Boots, so that I can use Alte Muller for Ancient Beckoning. Until I get a pair of Spirit Boots, I can't really use Alte Muller for the Sleipnir battle. So, equipment capped on the Sleipnir battle. It is what it is. You know, I never picked up a Juggler plushie, and it makes me very glad that I pulled so much on the equipment banner, the Kage Kidan uniform Sakura Wars equipment banner, because that was when I managed to get my Tieris her teddy bear, right? And it's been pretty significant. That one extra turn of attack blessing has helped a lot, I have to say. And that's pretty much it in terms of gear that I'm missing. So, for some silliness, if I just bring this up, ever since I purchased the Goddess Trial +1 Goddess Trial every day near the start of this month, I've been getting a lot more SSRs, right? And the most ridiculous one was the number of Vampire Masks I now have. Yeah. I had that level 50 Vampire Mask from the past, and that was it. But this month, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. So, I could very easily make another Vampire Mask, if I so wish. It's just a matter of whether I'm willing to commit the gold to it. But now, once again, now that I'm not worrying so much about PvP, I can actually start using gold on building up additional sets of gear. So I will likely build up this Vampire Mask once I figure out if someone actually needs it. Because I truly don't know. At this time, nobody needs it, but I'm sure someone will, eventually. So I'll hold on to those. Right. These two are both new pretty much this month. November or December was when I got these two Bloodline Magic Armors. Not building them because of Epic Martial Spirits requirements. Blood Packs, right? Both of them were this month, as mentioned. And then, yeah, so you can see a whole bunch of stuff here. Oh, and then I also picked up... I had 2 Bloodsword Huntings for a while, but this month I picked up 2 more. Don't know what I'm going to do with those. I mean, this means I can make a level 40 Bloodsword Hunting. So... I don't know. Does someone else really need to use a Bloodsword Hunting? I mean, I could give it to someone, but I don't think it's considered a best in slot because it only provides 5% attack increase as opposed to the 10% that Seal Guardians do. And I already have too many Seal Guardians, right? There's one sitting right here, right now, unused. So, tons of gear, as you can see. Just copies of it just sitting here in reserve because I may need them in the future. That's pretty much it. So that pretty much covers everything I wanted to say. Oh, and in terms of character upgrading and character shard farming, currently continuing to farm... I'm currently farming Juggler, right? I'm currently farming Yulia. And then the last 3 Gate of Fate runs, I'm currently clearing out characters whose Gate of Fates I've never done. I'm no longer in a rush to grind up characters for PvP, so I can afford to start focusing on clearing out the Gate of Fates I've never done. So right now I think I'm doing... I just finished Gizaroth. Right? I did his 5 Gate of Fates, and then I also did Diharto last week, and I also did Lifany. So 3 characters Gate of Fates finished. You know, I still have a whole bunch more. Like I think Ferrokia. Nope, Ferrokia is done. So other characters that I haven't done though is like, you know, these 2, the collab characters, Sigma, Lambda, Illustrial, Betty, who I recently drew for, Wyler, Serena, Angelina, and Claret, who I also recently drew for. So these 2 heroes are actually brand new, Betty and Claret. And I'll mention that right after this. So I think I'm currently doing Sakura's Gate of Fate. Yes. So I did 3 runs today, and then I'll finish off Sakura, then I'll do Sumere, then I'll work my way through the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters, because Angelina doesn't have a Gate of Fate. So, quite a bit of farming to go, because 7 characters is basically 35 more runs, right? And 35 runs would... doing 3 runs per day is pretty much 12 days. So, there is going to be... So, we'll figure it out in 2 weeks who I start farming for. Probably Yusuke if he's released. Okay, so I think that finally concludes all the things about changes over the past week. Oh, and of course, Yulia. Yulia's Gate of Fate has been completed. Or not Gate of Fate. Yulia's bonds have been completed. Except for her 3rd bond, which she currently doesn't have access to. It comes from getting her 2nd class mastery, Blade of the Goddess. And I don't have it yet. I don't have 2 runestones to commit into Yulia at this time. I have 1. So I haven't done that yet, but it is the December 30th, so it's the new month this Wednesday. And then that's when I'm going to get new runestones. So I'll be able to finish off Yulia at that point. So that is Yulia's status. 5 stars and bonds will be completed. The interesting thing is there's so many new runestones this month, or this coming month, because the current Research Team Mania event has a runestone. Right? From the exchange rewards, you can pick up a runestone, I think on the 3rd page. Yeah. From guild medals, you can pick up a runestone. Right? The guild store will have a runestone every month. The store will have a runestone every month. The regular store. So that's 3 runestones right there. And then, you know, Aniki may give you a runestone and so on. And presumably, maybe the Yu Yu Hakusho event will give you another runestone. So we're looking at possibly 4 runestones in this coming month. Wow. So that would be another 2 characters you can upgrade. For me, it's definitely going to be Yulia for one of them, probably Yusuke for the other one. Although a character that does need runestones as well is, for me, is Shafenio. Right? I would like to get her Archmage and Wizard class, just so she gets that extra, I think, 37 intelligence. Yeah, 25 int from Wizard, 12 int from Archmage. I don't think she'll actually use these skills at all, but having the extra class mastery 37 int will be pretty important for Shafenio. Okay, so that's it for this video. And I am going to, as mentioned, I will start doing my separate videos, the hero covering my other characters, and the first one will be probably covering my tanks, but that will be done in a separate video. So, pretty long. Surprisingly, this one went on for much longer than I expected. But thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this information useful. And on that note, Nitro out.